is my place, and I am welcome. Oh my goodness. Hello, family. Happy Sunday. It is good to be with you today. Let us begin with a song. This one is You Belong, and you'll be able to catch on pretty quickly. It's right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here with me. All right, here we go. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here with me. Right here, right now. You belong here. Come on now. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here with me. And I see you. You are bright as the moon. You are bright as the moon. Bright as the moon. Bright as the moon. And I welcome you here in my heart. Here in my heart, there is always a place for you. Now we can sing this part together. Right here, right now, you belong. Here we go. Right here, right now, you belong here. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now, you belong here. You belong here with me again. Right here, right now, you belong here. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now, you belong here. You belong here with me. And I see you. You are bright as the moon. You are bright as the moon. Bright as the moon. Bright as the moon. And I welcome you here in my heart. There is always, here in my heart, there is always a place for you. All right, we're going to take it home with right here, right now. Here we go. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here with me. Oh yes, right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here. You belong here. Right here, right now. You belong here. You belong here with me. That's right, you belong here with me. Today's theme is I don't get it. But before we begin, I'd like to start with my intention prayer because it helps to ground me. It is my intent to share my gift of song, my love and my passion, to honor and to serve spirit. Let it reach whomever it is meant for, however it is meant to, in humility and grace, without judgment, and in love and light. And know that what I offer, all I can offer are just little things that I've learned along the way, little tidbits that I've picked up. You know what? There is so much going on in the world, isn't there? So much on the news. We're constantly bombarded with all of this stuff. It's just become kind of overwhelming. And, you know, we've had recently the news of the residential schools, the discovery that has reopened some deep wounds in our country, hasn't it? And we've had quite a lot of systemic issues that we still need to fix, I think. And in some areas, even for the indigenous people, they still don't have access to basic necessities like adequate housing and fresh water. It really begs the question, like, how? How is this even possible? How is this possible in Canada? I don't get it. When we have systemic racism, you know what? As a Black singer, I have to tell you that when I was on tour, there's a whole other dimension that I discovered to racial inequality. I discovered that exoticism in a predominantly other society turns you into this sort of objectified commodity for display. That was something that I had never really quite, figured out before. It was interesting to experience it. What about the war in Israel that has been going on for, oh my gosh, since biblical times, right? Narcissistic dictators who use people as lubricant for their wheels, nations bombing their own people murdering each other. There's rapists, abusers, pandemic of the past and of the present, the Holocaust, genocide, the destruction. Oh my goodness. Oh, we can go on and on and on. I mean, that's just stuff we do to each other. But there's the stuff we do to the earth, the gradual extinction of resources and animals, trees. If we can't domesticate it, we get rid of it. Poisoning of water as a consequence of progress. The 10% or the 1% or whatever it is that hold all the power and the wealth, while most are left to live hand to mouth and others die of starvation. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Do you get it? I mean, do you get it? Because I don't get it. I don't get it, in the midst of all of that worldly stuff, there's our stuff, like our stuff on top of all that, right? There is the people in our lives. There's the people in our lives, broken or abusive or neglectful relationships, the death of an innocent child or a family member or friends, accidents, there's illnesses, there's all kinds of things that leave us feeling, dependent, and sometimes we feel useless. There are circumstances like finances, race, job loss, these things leaving us feeling disempowered. I mean, how is anyone supposed to survive in a world that seems to be hell-bent on our own destruction? I don't get it. And yet somehow, in and through all of this is this call to deepen our understanding, to find ourselves through it. In it is God. I can shout out in anger or think before I speak. I can choose to be strong or surrender to your feet. I can rage like the fire or soothe like the breeze. All of this is all of you and me. In and through it all is God. In and through it all is love. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. In and through it all is God. It sure is. Life can play a soft, sweet melody or screech in tragedy. It can wrap you in its arms or bring you humbly to your knees. It can bring so much suffering or joy and harmony. All of this is all of you and me. Because in and through it all is God. In and through it all is love. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. In and through it all is God. It's what it takes to live this human experience. It's what it takes to awaken to our souls. It's what it takes to recognize our wholeness. Because God needs us to be whole. God. In and through it all, it's love. I am here to be a mirror, to reflect the divine in you. In and through every single one of what we go through, all the things we don't understand, is God. The man that stopped the desert. Climate change, rising temperatures, decrease in rainfall, animals and trees dying. The desert just sort of creeped into this space, into this village, and it started this mass exodus of people. But then this one man stayed behind, and he started implementing this ancient technique that went against all the rules of traditional farming. And he fought through all of the naysayers and all the people that kept calling him crazy. He fought through, even though people were actually burning down the crops that he planted. There were no crops already, and people were burning down what he planted. He's trying to save this village, and they're burning it down. I don't get that. He persevered against all odds, finding ways to capture the rain so that it had time to soak into the ground rather than running off as usual. And today, his efforts created a 40-hectare forest filled with herbs and trees and food, and it's now become self-sustaining because it's producing seeds for returning farmers. He took a starving village, dead land, and he brought back the birds and other animals and food. This man is Yakuba Sawadogo, the man who stopped the forest, and the area is called Burkina Faso. And after I saw this film, and I encourage you to see it if you have not yet, it inspired this talk. But as I worked on the talk, it became really clear that there are some questions that, you know what, we will never actually know the answer to. Questions like, why me? Have you ever asked that question? Hands up if you have. Why me? Why them? Why this? Why now? Why would God allow? Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I dive right into that because I don't get it. I keep thinking, no. I mean, this God that I serve, this God within me cannot possibly allow these atrocities to happen in the world. No, but life isn't about answering why questions. And our biggest mistake, I think, is thinking that we need to actually have the answer to the why. It is instead moving from our intellect into our spiritual mind. Our intellect into our spiritual mind, allowing us insight beyond the appearances of the external to comprehend who we have to become and what we must do through prayer in a foundation of faith. You see, Yakuba didn't spend his life trying to understand why the forest is gone, why there suddenly is now a desert in his land. He didn't spend years and years trying to break down this why question. Instead, he learned, and he's a Muslim man, by the way, he learned with his spiritual understanding. Our spiritual understanding, by the way, is not limited to religion. He was Muslim. Charles Fillmore says, it is the ability of the mind to apprehend and realize the laws of thought and the relation of ideas to one another, meaning, in my mind, the key of spiritual understanding is having that mental clarity put into action. It's sort of this, okay, now I see, and now I can apply whatever idea comes to the world. It isn't about the why, it's about the what. It's about the what. What must be done? Do you know this one? Do what must be done? See the world beyond the horizon and do what must be done. They see the hole in the fabric that that must be sown. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon. And some people do what must be done. Do what must be done. They do what must be done. They see the way beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. Some people do what must be done. They do what must be done. They see the way beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. I've seen the toll taken and the tears that were shed. I've seen the journey started and the ripples they spread. Some people say that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. They see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. That's right. Do what must be done. They do what must be done. They see the way beyond the horizon, and they do what must be done. That's right. They do what must be done. Yakuba did what had to be done. He didn't spend his time ruminating over why me? Why my village? Why this? Why now? You see, we spend so much time trying to understand the incomprehensible intellectually. And I have to say, this really leaves us feeling defeated. Because I don't know about you, but have you ever heard the answer to the why me? Have you ever heard it? If we do hear an answer, I can guarantee you that it is coming from blame, shame, victimization, anger, hatred, hostility, self-pity, or deprecation. At least in my experience. My why answers always seem to go there. Most of us don't even have a clear understanding of ourselves and why we do the things we do sometimes. You see, because we focus on the surface. We see our behavior, we see the consequences of our behavior, but we don't look deeper to see the systems that created it, the self-talk that still sustains it, the negativity around us that pulls us down every single time we try to change it. There's this author and therapist, he's also a motivational speaker, called Sean Stevenson. He was born, I don't know, is anybody familiar with Sean Stevenson? No? He was, he's only about 3 feet tall. He was born with something called osteogenesis imperfecta. And he spent his entire life in a wheelchair. But he went around and making people laugh. He used his illness. He was supposed to have been dead within 24 hours of birth, and he used that to inspire others. And he says the real prison is in our minds. You see, the intellect is limited. Every time we ask why questions, we just add more bricks to our prisons to fortify them. Spiritual understanding takes us from why me, why this, to what. What is really going on here? What is mine to do? What is mine to be here? And our passage in both deepening our understanding of ourselves and the world is through that desert, through Yakuba's desert. We must acknowledge, we must let go, we must accept, we must pray and allow, and finally, we must be. We must be the opportunity. Let me clarify. We have to acknowledge that this external thing is. It just is. This pandemic, it just is. Whatever may be going on, it may be unfair, it may be wrong, it may be sad, it may be terrible. We certainly never planned on it. Somebody may have cancer. I have fibromyalgia. I may have been wronged in this. And in Yakuba's case, you know what? His village was on the brink of starvation. No, everybody, after years of people, deforesting, taking out all of these trees, chopping down trees everywhere, they slowly turned that. It wasn't through his fault. He didn't do anything. Why me? Why here? Why my village? There's no point in answering that question. His people were abandoning their homes in search of food and a better life. It is what it is. And there is good in it. Would you say that with me? It is what it is, and there is good in it. Let's say it together. It is what it is, and there is good in it. There is good in it. And we have to give thanks for the good, because it will show up. It will. I give thanks, even though I cannot see the good in this situation. I know it's happening for me. There is good in this for me. I know when I trust in life and the flow. There is good in this for sure. And I give thanks. Let's sing that together. I give thanks, even though I cannot see, even though I can. The good in this situation, the good in this situation. I know it's happening for me. There's a gift in this for me. I know when I trust in life and the flow. There is good in this for sure. And I give thanks. Let's do that again. I give thanks, even though I cannot see, even though I cannot see the good in this situation. I know it's happening for me. There is good in this for me. I know when I trust in life and the flow. There is good in this for sure, and I give thanks. Oh yes, one more time. I give thanks, even though I cannot see, even though I cannot see the good in this situation. I know it's happening for me. There is good in this for me. I know when I trust in life and the flow. There is good in this for sure. And I give thanks. That's right. See, we must be willing. We must be willing to let go of the appearances. We must be willing to let go of appearances, to become an observer of ourselves and of the world. You know the phrase, be in the world but not of it? Right? Meaning physically being in the difficult situation, to understand parts of ourselves and the world does not mean that you actually have to participate in it actively and adopt the beliefs of the incomprehensible. One of Sean's lessons, Sean Stevenson again, says that we must never accept a prediction that does not empower us. We can observe our behavior and others and situations as though we're looking at it, sort of playing it through a television screen. This sort of allows us this perspective to see the truth in spite of appearances. We have to allow ourselves, pull ourselves back from the situation and really just take a look at it. Like, what's really true? What's really going on here? And we must be willing to accept. The next one was accept. We need to be willing to accept our guided observations. You know the serenity prayer, and if you know it, say it with me. It's, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Acceptance is the okay. It is what it is. I can't reverse time. Now what? That's what acceptance is. Right? It is what it is. I can't reverse time. Now what? And we breathe. We take that deep breath. It's like, okay, now what? Well, the now what can only be answered in prayer and in the stillness of the wisdom within, discerning the facts of the intellect, placing it at the altar of our faith in God through prayer. And when I say prayer, I don't mean all these fancy, nice affirmative words and all of that stuff. Sometimes prayer is just an angry rant of frustration. Sometimes prayer is a car yelling match. I've done a lot of those. Sometimes prayer is just sobbing. Whatever it takes to get to that place where we simply leave it at the altar and wait. It is written, "Come unto me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest." I will give you rest. When you are in doubt and darkness surrounds you, pray. When heartache consumes you and no one to turn to, pray. I listen to your pain, and I hear you call my name. There's no judgment in my eyes, just a purifying flame. Come unto me, all who are weary, pray. Reach out your hand, I'm gonna carry you, pray. Come unto me, all who are weary, pray, and I will give you rest. When problems engulf you and everyone depends on you, pray. When guilt suffocates you and loved ones desert you, pray. I feel you tear apart and fear is gripping at your heart. There's no judgment in my eyes. Come to me, I'm where you start. Come unto me, all who are weary, pray. Reach out your hand, and I'm gonna carry you, pray. Come unto me, all who are weary, pray, and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. You know, I hear the curtain fall, out of control, spinning like a ball. You've given it your all, and now I'm waiting for your call. Finally, be the opportunity that the situation needs. Faithfully. Be the hands, be the feet, be the eyes and mouth and action of God's will. You know, when Noah built the ark, can you imagine what people were thinking? Can you just imagine? I mean, let's think about ourselves in today's world. We saw someone, like if you're outside right now and you look outside and you see your neighbor building some giant ship and he says, I'm going to build that so I can put 2 of every animal on earth. What exactly would you be thinking right now? Right? He had to have faith in what God demanded of him, because I am sure others thought that he was nuts. With a clear understanding of what I cannot humanly do, God within me will. And you know, I have to tell you, I allowed myself to drown, really drown, as a result of the pandemic. You see, I was so hung up on what I thought things are supposed to be, and that was not it. Things were not supposed to be what turned out for the last year and a half. And truthfully, this situation, it just shook me so much at the core, I truly just unraveled. And I was left with a very uncommon disorder that made it difficult for me to walk, made it difficult for me to hold a pen at times, to talk, even to feed myself or take a drink without spilling it. And in those moments, I realized that when I don't actually feel very faithful, my faith rescues me. It sounds funny to say that, but my faith rescues me, even when I'm not even conscious of it, even when God is the total last thing on my mind right now. And I'm like, you know what, God, you can stay over there. I don't want anything to do with you because I'm here where I am right now. And I don't get this. I don't get this. I don't want anything to do with you right now. My faith rescued me. You see, all I had was why questions, but I believed once we've taken that conscious step of believing, even just for a moment, in that one power greater than ourselves, faith does the unconscious work for us when we ourselves get in the way. And God comes through because my body always worked when I really needed it to. What we cannot humanly do, God will through us. There's this man called Jadev Payang, and he's a Hindu man who single-handedly created a forest bigger than New York City Central Park. And when his whole community was a desert, for 40 years now, over 40 years of planting, persistence, planting it over and over and over, he has brought wildlife back, made an oasis out of a desert. World Vision started out as someone following God's idea. So when I say be the opportunity that the situation requires, I mean be the action of God. So when we get a diagnosis that leaves us debilitated in some way, and we surely will be able to say, my limbs may not work today, but God within me will find a way. And all the resources, all the knowledge, and everything that we need will come as God uses us as the opportunity to bring healing or solutions. You know, I sat yesterday, Veston knows this, I've had this talk for, the better part of a month to really just think it through and figure it out. And I just could not get my mind to focus. I could not focus just long enough to actually write anything down. And yesterday I sat down and I had to surrender. It is what it is. I have absolutely nothing to present today. I had to accept. Okay, it is what it is. Now what? Take a deep breath. Pray. God, I know you have something to say. Please tell me. Be the opportunity. Okay, I'm writing. Remember Yakuba. He brought life back to his village. And with that, the villagers returned. Businesses came, creating a thriving village. And these are the people who these are the people, the Yakubas, the Sean Stevensons, the Gretas, and the World Vision people, all of these people, that the water projects. These are the people that use their spiritual understanding to turn something that is definitely not understandable, something sad, overwhelming, all these situations, into opportunities, into the opportunity that God intended them to be. Let us take that into meditation, shall we? Let us take it into meditation. Let's just take a nice deep cleansing breath. Spirit of the ocean deep, deepen my understanding, deepen my understanding. Show me the truth. Deepen my understanding. Deepen my understanding. Beyond all appearances. Deepen my understanding. Deepen my understanding. The power of spiritual understanding is a gift that helps us to see through Spirit's eyes, rather than our own intellect. The appearances of the world are filled with situations that bring us down and make us question everything. What is the situation? If you want to just close your eyes and just really contemplate this for a moment, what is the situation in your life that is pressing on you right now, that you are seeking deeper understanding of? Is it a person? Is it a person in your life? Is it a situation? Perhaps it's an event that has happened that you feel is unfair. Or is it yourself that you don't understand, and your own behavior that you don't understand? Why do I keep doing this? Take a moment and let's just reflect. Why me? Why them? Why this? Why now? Why do I keep doing that? Playing victim or blaming and shaming only feeds our destruction. Our business is not why, but what? What? What is beneath the surface of my behavior or this situation? Let us instead take a deep breath and send love into that difficulty. Let us take a deep breath together. For only when we are looking through the eyes of our spiritual understanding, we are looking through love, and that's where we can gain clarity. And if you choose, please let my words be yours. I acknowledge this situation. It is what it is. And I breathe love into it. Yes, I know what this looks like. I see the challenges. And yes, I am willing to let go of its appearance, because I am in this world. I am not of it. Just because this is happening in my life does not mean that I have to buy into it. I breathe love into this vessel and into this difficulty. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I breathe a deep breath of love into this. Okay, now what? Through prayer, I understand this. Through prayer, I surrender this. Spirit, deepen my understanding of what is mine to do here and now. Help me to remember to breathe love into my being. Help me to remember to breathe love into the things and the situations and people in my life that I just don't get. Show me what is mine to do and what I must become. Grant me the courage to be what I must become. And as you take a deep breath, finally, I am willing to be the opportunity this situation needs me to be. I am willing to be the heart that breathes love into my life, this situation, and the world. I am willing to dig my hands in the dirt to turn a desert of a situation into a forest. I am willing to be the voice in this situation to inspire someone else who is drowning in what it looks like for them. I am willing to be the voice that speaks out against injustice. I am willing to be the mind that sees this as an opportunity to become the action of God, knowing that whatever I cannot humanly do, God within me will find a way. Let us take a deep breath as we return to this time and space. And if you would, repeat this affirmation. As I look through the loving eyes of spirit, I grow in deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. Say it with me. As I look through the loving eyes of spirit, I grow deeper in understanding myself and the world around me. One more time. As I look through the loving eyes of spirit, I grow in deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. You see, even though my intellect may not make sense of this, the awakened power of understanding within is clear that I am to be the heart, I am to be the hands and the feet of God, to bless this world in and through all of this. Let us sing this beautiful song by Karen Drucker. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. Let's do it again. I am the heart, I am the hands, the voice, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and who I am, and all I do, and all I do is a blessing to the world. One more time. I am the heart, I am the hands, the voice, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, do, and all I do is a blessing to the world. I truly hope that you got something out of all of this. I truly hope that it touched you in whatever way that it was meant to, and that you received it, however you were meant to receive it. I thank you for the privilege of being here with you today. God bless. Namaste.
And we want to thank you, Deidrey, for being the blessing that you are and for just taking us on this wonderful ride this Sunday. Like, wow.
This is my place.